Hello and welcome to Walk the Pod, your daily walking show where I take my podcast for a walk because I don't have a dog. Welcome along. This is episode 6, series 51 of the daily walking podcast that tempts you away from your desk to walk in nature for just 10 minutes. We are halfway through series 51 now on the theme of friendship. It's been really interesting to think about how friendship is not culturally or societally recognised. We don't have stages of friendship in the same definable way as we have stages of relationships, or what some people call the relationship escalator, in which the expectation is that you date somebody, then you move in together, then you buy a house, then you get married, then you have children, then you etc., etc. Something which is not followed by enormous numbers of people, but which society seems to indicate is the correct way to proceed. So this week, it doesn't surprise me at all to find a post bag which reflects the fact that people do prioritise that relationship escalator and deprioritise friendship. So my radical prompt to you today is going to be to keep in touch with your friends. Welcome to Walk the Pod.
I will attempt here to send another walking report. My screen did something very strange, so I apologize for whatever confusing, incomplete message was sent. But I had a great walking report to share. The imagery of this morning. I was out in the country. My daughter and her husband are away, and I am doing some kitten chores each morning. And so just walking out there, it was very breezy, 46 degrees Fahrenheit. And what I was seeing in front of me were just very dry, light tan colored corn stalks in a field, ready to be harvested. And when that wind just blows through those dry stalks, it sounds like paper rustling in a sense. And I looked up online what the moon was doing, because as the sun was beginning to rise in the east, the moon was huge. I couldn't even kind of capture it in a picture because it just didn't do it justice. But it's in its 99% illumination phase of the waxing gibbous. And that means tonight we get a beautiful full moon phase, which is so strikingly bright against the dark rural area where I live. Very much enjoying, Rachel, the friendship theme, and what a special place Walk the Pod is, to just enjoy a friendship, right, for all of us around the world.
G'day Rach, it's Robin from New Zealand. It's sitting on a park bench on a Sunday afternoon in the Waitakere Ranges, which is near my home. I'm looking out across some bush-clad hills dotted with houses in a sort of semi-rural suburb, and beyond that is the Manukau Harbour, which comes in from our west coast and nearly joins the one that comes in from the east coast. New Zealand's about 1.5 kilometres wide at that point. It's a sort of lovely warm spring day, scattered cloud but patches of sunlight breaking through, and I'm looking at a view from the park, and it's one of those tricky situations where the trees the park protects are actually growing to block out the view that the viewpoint was set up to expose. So there's a conservationist dilemma. Interesting series on friendship. I thought I'd sort of raise one point which I hadn't really thought about but had experience from both sides, regards friendship and relationship or work, where people sort of get so absorbed in a new relationship or work project or activity that they forget about their friends. And then when those circumstances change, be it relationships break up or the work disappears, they look around and wonder where their friends are. I've probably been guilty a little bit of both, but I've certainly seen both sides, and it's worth keeping in touch with people all the way through, because you don't know when you'll need them, and things can easily drift apart. One good thing about friendships is you can often just pick them up and carry on, which is probably perhaps a sign of a true friend. The talk that made me think about this was given by a behavioural psychologist, Peter McGraw. He has a number of talks on his site, petermcgraw.org, which is, his last name's McGraw, and on a section called Solo, which is about people who are happy to be not in a relationship and class themselves as solo rather than single. There's a number of great talks there and articles, and he's also written a book on the subject of how the world is changing and how that impacts things like friendships and ongoing relationships. The other part of his site might be of interest to you too, Rach, in that he studied comedy and as a behavioural scientist. And so that's the other side of his academic work. Both sides are worth a look. And thanks for the series to date. I'm looking forward to the rest. See you later from Sunday afternoon in New Zealand. Cheers.
Thank you, Cindy in Nebraska and Robin in Auckland, for those brilliant voice notes, both so fascinating. Thank you for your walking report, Cindy, and your update on your grand kittens. Grand kittens because they are the kittens of your daughter and her husband, so that's how that works, right? And I had this very striking visual image of you walking out of your house on your porch, because you must have a porch because you live in Nebraska, and looking up at a big full moon, which must be absolutely stunning with no light pollution, or at least a good deal less than we have here in London, I would imagine. So thank you for that. And Robin, your thoughts on friendship, very, very striking indeed. I have been absolutely guilty of this myself, 100% a disappearer into relationships and work. And someone who doesn't keep up with their friends enough. So, as I said in the introduction, my radical prompt to everybody is simply to say, if you haven't got in touch with your friends lately, drop them a line and keep that flame alight. Because whilst there's no sort of societal or cultural reminders to do so, we are nothing without our friends, and our friends can pick us up and take us through all kinds of things that life throws at us, and we can do the same for them, of course. What can I see directly in front of me? Well, I'm walking around the park behind the hospital. There are tiny tots in the play park, little 2 and 3 year olds toddling about, absolutely adorable. And we really are getting into the proper autumn now. There is a lot of orange, yellow, crispy leaves on the floor. And I actually crunched through some leaves this morning, which means that we are very nearly in the proper autumn. Because I've been spending the last couple of weeks thinking, well, it's not really autumn yet. It's not crispy leaves yet. It's just a lot of green leaves still. But no, it's happening now. And I'm very much looking forward to a little jaunt to Canizaro Park in Wimbledon at the weekend to crunch through the biggest piles of autumn leaves I can find, because that's what you do in autumn, right? Cannot wait for that. But even in the park here behind the hospital, there's a fair amount of crispy leaves to crunch through, and that is one of the joys of autumn. And as Donna Ashfield's poem Joy Comes Back reminds us, the more we appreciate things that bring us joy, the more often joy visits. I don't make the rules, that's how that works. Thank you for walking with me, dear friends. It's been a delight to kick off this second week of our friendship-themed Series 51 of Walk the Pod with you. Very grateful indeed to Cindy and Robin for your voice notes. If you'd like to send me a voice note or a walking report or what friendship means to you from wherever you are in the world, you can do so by going to walkthepod.com and pressing the button marked Leave a Voice Note for Walk the Pod. Take care of your beautiful mind, yourselves and each other, and I'll be back with episode 7 tomorrow.